I'm Gabe Lullo, and welcome to the Do Hard Things podcast. We're talking to go-to-market leaders and entrepreneurs who have conquered the challenges, the hustle, and the grind. Get ready for real talk, real insights, and no fluff.
But the hardest thing in the world right now is not actually closing deals, it's actually getting somebody's attention.
If you don't have that hook in that first 5 to 10 seconds, guess what? They're going to scroll to the next one.
You need to go in and you need to make it sound like yourself. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle. And I promise you, we can all tell.
The people that are trolls and the people that are haters never done the thing that you're doing.
I love doing this podcast because I get a front row seat to some of the greatest minds in sales.
Gone are the days of saying stay in your lane. When you're an executive leader and you're an enterprise-wide leader, there are no lanes. You've got to be partners.
Curiosity is like when the type of questions you ask is sometimes the value that you bring.
I need you to tell me when you're ready to buy or what you're ready to do. And I think it's changed so much into like adding more value. And if you're not doing that, then you're definitely going to come off as desperate.
High pressure selling is like a dinosaur tactic at this point.
No parent is like, oh, you should be a salesperson when you grow up, right? Everyone's like a doctor, lawyer, whatever crap. It's never salespeople.
It's not your job to motivate people. It's your job to find motivated people.
It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence knowing I know this and I know that I can help you.
From where I started to where I am today is all because I learned how to sell.
And there's too many people who have only been doing this for 5 freaking minutes. Sit down, close your mouth, actually go out there and get yourself beat up, then come back and tell me if something is dead or not.
That is exactly why I started this podcast, because right there, that's the epitome of doing hard things.
Welcome back to the Do Hard Things podcast with Lexi and Gabe. Today's guest, Tony Brophy, is someone who truly embodies what doing hard things is all about. For 18 months straight, he's shown up on LinkedIn every single day, self-promoting one service, cold calling. No fancy funnels, no multi-channel strategies, just one marketing channel, one service, and hundreds of conversations every week with people who mostly don't want what he's selling. With over 25,000 followers on LinkedIn, Tony has become the voice for everyone grinding through graveyard shifts while gurus post inspirational content. He's not theorizing about cold calling, he's doing it daily for clients who bring him a list and messaging and expect results. He's proof that you don't need to get fancy, you need to do the work, even when it feels like you're getting punched in the face, especially then. Tony, welcome to the show.
All right, welcome everyone back to the Do Hard Things podcast with your hosts, Gabe and Lexi. We are so excited to have Tony on the show. We just heard your bio, Tony, and everyone is really eager to hear about what you're going to be talking about today, and so are we. Super excited to have you on. How you doing, man?
I'm incredible now. I'm incredible. Thanks for having me, guys. I can't wait for this. Good opportunity to practice my presenting skills after 6 hours on the phone today.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about cold calling because that's what you do and you do it so well. It's interesting, not everyone knows this, of course, but I'll let them know. You and I met about a year ago when you were looking to look for cold calling roles. And it was interesting because you went on your own. You said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this myself. And you became an entrepreneur and at a young age. And there's a lot of people on this call and this listening in our audience to want to do the same thing. And so we want to kind of dive into that and hear a little bit of your origin story because it's unique, right? You've turned cold calling an art that you've mastered and are obviously teaching others how to do into a company. So let's talk about it. And what was really your first experience with cold calling? How did you get started in this?
Yeah, of course. So I started out in Dublin, Ireland. Remember going up for an interview, walking up an absolute shithole of an office, showing up, and they, after about 2 minutes talking to me, they were like, "Right, you're good enough. Let's get you on the phones." And I was thinking, what the hell is about to happen now? So they gave me a bunch of magazines and a physical phone. This was about 2 years ago, and just said, "Right, start calling them." They put a script in front of me, and they were like, "Go on then." And I was kind of like, what do you mean? And they were like, "Start calling the numbers." And everyone was there. It was my first day, shitting themselves laughing. And yeah, I just started making calls, dialing manually, shooting from the hip. And yeah, got slightly less awkward every call. And yeah, just kept showing up every day after that for about 3 months. And that was my first place. Yeah, a boiler room marketing agency in Ireland. selling to plumbers and electricians.
That's great. And how did you transition into what you're doing now?
Yeah, I was in university and a lot of my friends had graduated and I started seeing they were making some cash. And I was still in uni and I was feeling like a bit of a loser, not really having that much cash, living off my parents and doing some crappy jobs here and there. So I said, right, I need to get into tech sales. I'd seen all the gurus talking about it online. Applied for all the big tech jump companies in Ireland, Salesforce, HubSpot, all these big companies. None of them would take me because I was still in college and I was quite a naive fool. Not that maybe I still am. And then I said, right, let's go work for these Americans. Let's see what they're saying. Because you guys are supposedly the kings of sales and queens of sales or whatever. And yeah, I just started applying like crazy for jobs. Started smashing LinkedIn every day about what I was doing to get a job. And then a trend kept coming up about one certain dude who I needed to go work for. So I said, right, let's call him. So I got his phone number, called him. He gave me an interview. And then I prepared like crazy for that interview, hit up everyone in the company. I think there was about 15 people in the company, called them all, emailed them all, hit them up on LinkedIn, posted about my preparation for the job. And yeah, they gave me the job, which they probably shouldn't have because I sucked. And then, yeah, that was it. I was working remotely after university hours from about 3 to 1 a.m. at night, hounding the phones like a dog.
Wow. What a story. And I've seen online that you said you get kicked in the teeth for a living. What does a typical day with rejection actually look like for you?
Yeah, I suppose I probably start calling at 11 a.m. for a UK client, call it for an hour and a half. I do hour and a half call blocks. In an hour and a half, I probably speak to about 20 people. And then, yeah, maybe like a quarter of them will kick me in the teeth, hang up on me, tell me they're not interested immediately. And then, yeah, 15 of them will have a half decent conversation. But yeah, that's it. Do that call for about 8 hours a day. And yeah, speak to a crap ton of people. And I suppose I just get so used to it now that I don't really care anymore.
Well, that's it right there. You said you don't really care anymore. So did you care in the beginning, right? Because saying no hurts, right? Getting punched verbally hurts, and doing it for a living, like you say, is of course something that can get, you can go two routes here. I always say you're like the boxer, right? You either fall and give up, or you come out swinging. So you obviously have come out swinging. Walk us through how you're able to get that, level of, oh my God, I'm getting punched in the face every day, to I don't give a shit. I'm just going to go through this and this is going to be my lifestyle. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in my first job, that remote one after hours in university, yeah, for the first 6 months, I was absolutely horrific. I was shitting myself all day long. It was the most stressful thing ever. I could barely sleep. My armpits would be sweating all day. I'd have to change shirts about 4 times a day. Um, well, yeah, I just kind of kept doing it because otherwise they'd fire me. They were quite hardcore. So I had no other choice, to be honest. I would have got fired otherwise. But yeah, I suppose every month of just showing up for making your hundreds of dials every day, you just get gradually more and more inclined to it, more and more used to American dudes telling you to F off. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
it, just showing up, making more dials.
That's amazing. But now what you've done is you've brought essentially kind of a documentary, right, of that entire transition onto LinkedIn. And what I love about what you were saying, even in the interview process, you were posting about how you were preparing for the interview, and you talk about what you do. And when we first met, I think you had like 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. Now you have 25,000 and even more on other social platforms. Why are you taking what you're doing on the daily onto LinkedIn and exposing that to the world?
Yeah, I suppose when I started the first job, before I was properly posting, I was seeing all these LinkedIn gurus and I thought that they were all complete losers and their content was horrific. But they seemed to be making a few quid here and there and they seemed to be doing well from it. And yeah, it just really pissed me off seeing their stuff. And I thought, hang on, I'm just going to do my own version of this. And knew that I didn't want to work for someone else. And I felt like if I just smash LinkedIn enough, I'll get some opportunities for my own business eventually when I have enough of a following and known in a certain niche. So yeah, that was it really. just got annoyed at other people's content and thought that it would be easy to do.
That's awesome. And you've built your entire business on one marketing channel, one service. How come you didn't choose to diversify, do multi-channels? What made you really go in on that one channel being cold calling?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm quite ADHD riddled, so if I don't focus properly on one thing, I'll just be all over the place and I won't be able to do anything. So yeah, I need to live like a military lifestyle, otherwise I'll just go off the rails. So yeah, cold calling and smashing LinkedIn about cold calling was kind of an easy way for me to, yeah, stay focused, I suppose.
You know, it's funny. You and I feel the same way about the LinkedIn gurus. Some of them I've become friends with, and they are actually nice people. But when it comes down to many of them, and many of them I don't know, I will say that a lot of them are just there to sell a book, or a lot of them are talking about them being an expert when they actually didn't even do the thing they're talking about. And I think that's part of maybe why you didn't like some of it either. But I guess my question is, what do you think the hardest part of cold calling specifically is that the LinkedIn gurus really don't talk about that made you step in?
Actually doing it. I think everyone talks about cold calling like it's some sort of theater. And they love writing about it because it is kind of sexy. People love the idea of smiling and dialing and seeing all the movies of people selling, and it kind of sounds good it's great for marketing talking about cold calling. But yeah, people don't actually do the thing for hours on end every day consistently. Yeah, they just talk about theory and these fancy fancy ideologies and all this crap.
Yeah, what I love about what you do is not only do you talk about it, you actually show your results, show what even the bad side of it, right? You show the no's, you show what you're going through, you talk about what you're working on, you know, and I think it's so important that people see that transparency. It's just absolutely incredible. Has it been working? You know, putting that out there, right? Posting online is very therapeutic, right? It gets you for ourselves. It's very self-serving way of, you know, writing about it and kind of getting it out there. But on the other side, you said you're able to attract business. How's it going? And have you been able to attract some great clients?
Yeah, no, pretty much every client I have came through LinkedIn. Um, yeah, at the start I was completely flooded with leads. I didn't really know how to qualify clients properly, so I was kind of taking on anyone. And then I gradually learned that certain clients are not great and others are better. So through trial and error, yeah. But yeah, it worked very well. Got me a shitload of leads. Some paid content ops. I used to flog a lot of stuff on LinkedIn that I'd never used or didn't like to make a few quid, but I stopped that now, thank God. But yeah, definitely it works very well, LinkedIn, because everybody's on it, B2B people and founders and all that.
And you say how clients will bring you a list, messaging, you'll make the calls. Why do you think so many companies outsource this rather than building the team in-house?
Yeah, because nobody wants to do it. The reps are very expensive. I think the average rep in America, seen some stats, they do 44 dials a day, the average SDR. I think they cost what, like 140 grand a year all in, something along the lines. And they suck. And they take about 6 months to ramp. I probably took a year to ramp, to be honest. I was still crap and I was going all in on it. So yeah, just because of how difficult it actually is, I think you need people that are like really into it and they're willing to just keep showing up every day and getting kicked in the teeth.
Absolutely. So what are some common misconceptions on LinkedIn, right? You got, like I said, 25,000 followers. You'll probably have a lot more when this even goes live, right? Because you're growing with so much content. If you think about it, it's interesting. A mentor of mine said, Gabe, 25,000 people. Imagine going to like an arena with 25,000 people in it. That's a lot of people when you actually look at it from a physical standpoint. Then when you actually think about it, right, on what people do on Instagram and all TikTok, you know, there's a lot more people getting followers there, but LinkedIn's a little bit different, right? Because it's very specific to work and, to your point, business to business. So what's that most common misconception people have when, you know, they start doing LinkedIn themselves when it comes to creating content? What's any advice there?
Same as cold calling. You just have to do it every day consistently. The more, the better. There's no like formula. And then I suppose you can see people who are doing well and just copy their stuff or borrow their stuff and make your own little twist on it. But yeah, you just have to shoot from the hip and show up consistently. That's about it. It's quite an easy platform, to be honest. Everybody scrolls on it, but nobody actually posts because they're not allowed in their jobs. Yeah, it's quite very, very easy platform to grow a solid following on, I think.
And you mentioned a little bit ago how in the beginning you weren't really qualifying clients as much as you are now. How do you know if when someone comes to you with messaging, it's actually going to work before you start dialing on it? And what's something that would make you turn a client away?
Um, yeah, regarding the messaging, I mean, we kind of work on that together, so it's not too much of an issue. And you kind of just find out once you start making some dials and speaking to people. But why do I just qualify clients if they think they're going to get like results immediately? If all they care about is meetings, tends to not go very well. If they got crap data, if they don't really even know who they want to actually sell to, they've got a list of all these different personas and types of companies. It tends to not work very well. So yeah, those would be the main things. Yeah.
So when we work with clients ourselves, we notice that we can book a lot of meetings for clients and it's super successful. We can also book a lot of meetings for clients and it's still not successful. What are you typically seeing from a client side that really allows for success or not success when it comes to pairing up and running a campaign with a client?
Yeah, I suppose the contract value needs to be above a certain amount for it to be like profitable. And then, yeah, back to the list. I'm sure you guys build a list, but I don't build the list. So if they don't know how to build a list, they've got a crap data source, and they don't know who they actually want to sell to, then it's never going to work. Simple as, yeah.
So you have a lot of SDRs following you. A lot of our SDRs follow you. You have a big following of people in this profession, and you definitely, you walk the walk and talk the talk. So to the new SDR that just started when you were brand new, right? You said it took a year for you to ramp. How do we curve that ramp time for them? What are some do's and don'ts that you would recommend in that first 30, 60, 90 days when they're starting their career?
Yeah, I think number one, if you've got a Google Calendar, have call blocks, stick to those call blocks. So like I do hour and a half call blocks 5 or 6 times a day. Maybe for a new rep, do like 3 hour and a half call blocks, for instance. And then, yeah, just make sure that you stick to them, or have like an amount of dials that you need to make every single day and stick to them. And then secondly, if you have a script, just stick to the script. I love to get cute, and I particularly did when I started out, thinking that I'm too smart and yeah, but it doesn't work. You at the start, particularly, you just need to follow the script, shut your face, and read it like a normal person. And then finally, just speak like a normal person. Like you don't start turning into like some Jordan Belfort on the phone. Just chill out and nearly speak too slowly, as if you're like pissed off. That can work sometimes. Yeah, yeah. Just speak very like monotone. That can help.
And one of the things I see with you, and every time you and I've talked, you've always had humor in your talk track. You're always, cracking jokes, and on your posting, you're always cracking jokes, and you're quite cheeky, if you will. That's a term you guys use on your side of the pond. But I'm assuming you're doing it in your cold calls as well. I think it's super important, right? Because it makes you, like you just said, human and being casual, and it really catches people off guard. I think if prospects are just getting people robotically talking to them, and I don't mean AI, I mean like us as humans, but sounding so scripted, it just turns people off. But if you're cheeky and you're fun and you're laughing and you're doing something to catch them off guard, to humanize yourself, it usually is the best thing for the call. Are you doing that as well in your talk tracks, or how do you feel about doing that in calls?
Yeah, I do bits and pieces. If something funny comes up, I'll mention it definitely. I think the Irish accent's always the best one for it. That always cracks a smile from the prospects for sure. But yeah, definitely. I think most people that are cold calling are shitting their pants constantly all day long. And I mean, obviously it shows. If you're scared, it shows in your voice, and they can feel that, and they're going to hang up on you. Because I remember that for the first 6 months, everybody hanging up on me. And I was saying the exact same thing, but I was just shitting my pants. So yeah, just have a laugh and be yourself. Simple as. There's not like some magic secret, I think, to cold calling that everybody wants to claim there is.
Yeah. And we talk about a lot, like there's only a handful of things you'll ever hear in response when you're prospecting, right? There's not a million different, we call them objections or replies or responses in the world. They're usually a handful that you can classify or bucket them into certain things. Do you feel the same way? And if so, are you preparing to have a response ready no matter what something is being said on the other side?
Yeah, I definitely do. For certain objections, I kind of always say the same thing. And then as I bring on a client, as the same objections keep coming up like over and over again, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to ask the client, what do I say for this? And then I'll just gradually build out the script as I go longer with a client. And then anytime anything comes up, I'll know exactly what the best thing to say is. So yeah, I'm very scripted on my calls, to be honest, apart from when I have the odd banter.
And when you mentioned that you have those different blocks of an hour and a half long, what made you decide to do sprints in that length? Was there a specific, did you used to do longer, shorter? What made you feel like an hour and a half was the sweet spot?
I charge hourly. So I used to do like hour call blocks, but it's just too short. You kind of start up, you get your campaign ready, your script up and your dialer and all this crap. And by the time you start, it's already over. So I might start moving that up 2 hours, to be honest. But yeah, when I started out, I couldn't do even an hour. I was get too distracted. So yeah, it's just more time in the dialer, really.
So let's talk about the future. Everyone is talking about it. I'm almost sick of saying it, but we can't not mention it or it won't be relevant. AI. Is it coming for everybody? Is it included in your outbound? What is it? What is it that it's replacing? What is it not replacing? What's your position on it?
Yeah, I ain't no tech guy for sure. I'm the cold call guy, but AI, yeah. I mean, I use it for my script sometime. I'll put in like a framework that I use, and then I'll plug in all the information that the client's given me and ask it to make a script in this framework. So it's very helpful for that, to be fair. Then you make a few edits once you start getting on the phone and all that. And I'm sure down the line it can be used for like list building and targeting and the likes, but I don't know. I don't think it's being used that much in outbound sales. Do you reckon? What do you think?
I don't, not as much as everyone thinks it is.
Yeah.
And it's not even legal in most parts of the world. But it's funny, some of our reps, and I'm sure you probably get it too, ask us, prospects are asking, hey, is this AI? Or asking us like, what's the weather like? Or, what's your favorite sport team and things like that. So are you getting that as well? And people thinking that you're AI ever or no?
Yeah. Kind of 1 in 100 calls they'll say, is this AI? But I always say, I don't think they don't have the Irish accent on the AI yet, mate. And then that gets them always. Yeah. I do get that a lot for sure. Yeah.
And there you go with the cheeky response too, right?
Yeah.
And it gets them laughing, but it's
Yeah.
great to say that. That's incredible.
So for the SDR reps listening to this who are terrified on the phone, like you said, it's really hard when you first start out. What's one thing you think they need to hear?
The only way you're going to get better is by pushing through that fear that you have and that discomfort. There's no really two ways about it. You can like do all the role play you want and scroll LinkedIn all day long, but nobody else is going to do it for you and make the money and make the bread. Simple as.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for joining us here on the show. Who's that person that should be reaching out to you, and what's the best way to get a hold of you? I'm assuming LinkedIn, but why don't you plug for them to get a hold of you? That'd be great.
Yeah, call me +35387719480 anytime.
I love it. There's his phone number, everybody. Give him a call. Tony Brophy's the man. I always like to say you're the Tommy Shelby of cold calling. Some of you will get that if you watch Peaky Blinders. But we appreciate you. We respect you. We love that you put yourself out there and you're doing the hard things as you mentioned before. And we're really excited to have you on the show. And thanks so much for all your advice. And for all the SDRs listening, reach out to Tony for some advice. And as well as clients who are needing SDR services, give them a call.
Of course. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.